Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Softball question. What holiday is coming up next week?
Shavuot.
Shavuot or Shavuos, depending upon Ashkenazic, Sephardi pronunciation. The holiday of Shavuot. And it is the holiday that always gets forgotten. It's a shame. Part of it has to do with where it comes in the timeline. It's coming in the summertime, and a lot of Jews kind of wind up their Jewish participation during summer and then really come back at it for the high holidays. But that's not the only reason for Shavuot being this sort of forgotten child, literally the middle child of the Chagim. It is sad that even holidays such as Purim or Hanukkah, which are much less important both biblically as well as thematically, are well known when Shavuot languishes in relative obscurity. I think the biggest reason, of course, is the fact that Shavuot doesn't have as many distinctive markers about them. After all, when we celebrate Pesach, we have the Seder. We eat matzah, we eat maror, we eat haroset, and we have the wonderful week-long passage of that time where we are only eating unleavened bread, and we have, of course, 4 different services, not counting Shabbat, that take place during that time. Sukkot likewise. We have the Sukkah, we have the Lulav and Etrog, we have, again, an entire week's worth of services. But poor Shavuot, what does Shavuot get? A vague idea of dairy food. Not even a mitzvah, no commandment for that. If you're lactose intolerant, don't worry, you're not violating by having meat. You're okay. It's a relatively undeveloped theme. And then more recently, around the same time as Kabbalat Shabbat, in fact, was being composed, we began to have a Tikkun Leil Shavuot, a night of study, which we will have as well next Tuesday evening beginning at 8 p.m. So make sure you're here. And it will also include cheesecake, in fact, a cheesecake competition. So we will still have that, but even that is a bit vague in the minds of many people, not as captivating as that matzah can be. But we have to come back then to, well, what is then the theme? If Passover is the time of our liberation, if Sukkot is the time of our joy from the harvest, what is Shavuot's theme that we are ignoring it so much? Any ideas? What?
Giving of the Torah.
The giving of the Torah. Zman Matan Toratenu. It is the time of the giving of our Torah. And that actually, I believe, is the underlying reason, ironically enough, why Shavuot doesn't get as much attention and love. Because aren't we celebrating that all the time? I mean, don't we celebrate the getting of the Torah every time we have a public Torah reading? Don't we celebrate the gift of the Torah every time we have a class and learn a little more Torah? Don't we celebrate the giving of the Torah every time we use what the Torah has taught us to guide our life? For all of the other holidays, for all of our interpersonal relationships, for all of our ethical actions in the world around us, we're celebrating Torah constantly. It's almost as though we have a holiday to celebrate breathing. And, not many people would show up for that either, because it just is so obvious, so foundational, that we can't really imagine how you would celebrate that. But that, of course, is exactly why we need to celebrate it. The same way that a birthday or an anniversary can throw into sharp relief the joy we feel at having someone else in our life, of sharing our life with us, so too, when we celebrate Shavuot, we aren't saying that we weren't thinking about Torah and didn't like it for the rest of the year, unlike matzah. We are saying instead that we are celebrating it, especially giving it the just attention and focus and passion that perhaps all of our normal background affection for Torah during the rest of the year doesn't always rise to. It is that sad irony of ironies that which we love most often becomes a constant companion, and as a constant companion, often becomes no longer the center of our attention, becomes almost peripheral in our passion, when in fact it is precisely because of our devotion and love that it has become our constant companion. So too, with the Torah, we need to make sure that we set aside these moments, Shavuot in particular, to recognize how incredibly blessed we are to have been given the gift of revelation, the gift of Torah, how incredibly blessed we are to be in a community that not only cherishes Torah, but cherishes learning, studying, and putting Torah into practice. So I do hope you will join us for Shavuot next week, beginning Tuesday night, and then continuing also on Wednesday and Thursday with the daytime celebrations. And especially on Tuesday night for our Tikkun, we will be, in addition to having cheesecake, we will also be doing some study, as is traditional. We will be looking at two very different, so there's something for everyone, but very important concepts. The first is the concept of war in Judaism, something that has unfortunately made itself all too important and timely at this moment. But the other, slightly lighter, but going to become even more important, is the concept of where does lab-grown meat fall in the Jewish concept of our kashrut. If somebody grows bacon in a lab, is it kosher? Can I have lab-grown beef together with cheese? Will the holy bacon cheeseburger finally be kosher? Find out when we get together on Tuesday night. So I thought that might whet the appetite of a few people. The other one as well, we all approach with a great deal of devotion and seriousness, but sometimes I know it is difficult to engage in the more strenuous topics. So it's important to have a variety, showing that Torah reaches into every corner of our life and fridge.